Hey, everybody. Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm back. This is the next installment of Cool Cocktail Vibes, and this one is really fun. Much like the last two songs, Oh Man, She's Really Got It, and Oh Man, She's Really Got It Reprise, this song is also two different versions of essentially the same song, although they're very different. And they also have guest appearances. And so I'm really excited about talking about the song, the third song on the track of Cool Cocktail Vibes, right here. Cool Cocktail Vibes. Track number 3 is Chi Chi, song Chi Chi. Now, before I get started, as you know, I've got this. This is this guy here. Again, this is the pineapple, orange, and guava. This is the Tiki Farm, 2002, and I guess it was designed by someone named Joe Vitale in 2002. Tiki Farm. Always used to nickname Hothead. Hothead. Yeah, you might have noticed. I've got this going on here. My finger had a little argument with my skin, and the skin lost. And it's really gnarly here. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why. It's just one of those freak things that happens. And rather than doing the Quentin Tarantino mystery Band-Aid, because I didn't think you'd like to see that gnarliness, I got Bubbles. Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls. She's my favorite. Love Bubbles, Powerpuff Girls. She actually reminds me of someone, a blonde, who I used to know. She was a really sweet gal. So now that we got that all out of the way, let's talk about track number 3, Chi Chi. Yeah, Chi Chi. So the interesting story behind Chi Chi is that this was a track we recorded live in the studio with our old buddy, Rob Shoemaker. And I'll give you a little listen of that, and then I'll tell you a little bit about Rob and a little bit more background of how John and I met and got together. So let's take a little listen to a demo of the three of us, me on congas, John on guitar, and Rob on the bass guitar playing Chi Chi. Another conga solo. A stop and a break and another conga solo. So that's John Borroz, myself, and Rob Shoemaker playing bass. When I first met John at Portland State University, I met him on this. This is the Brown Bag Concert PSU, Portland State University Percussion Ensemble, under the direction of Brian Johansson. And I even found the program for it. So we rehearsed this, I don't know, few weeks, whatever. So Borroz was a guitar student, but he also got into the percussion ensemble as one of the players. That's how John and I actually met. So we'd meet after the percussion ensemble, and he told me once, he said, I'm starting my band again, play at bars and all that. So he said, you'd be interested to play. And I was doing a lot of music. I said, yeah, sure. Yeah, I want to get out there and play. I want to do gigs. I want to do gigs in clubs, bars and whatnot. So I joined him for his band at this place called Estrelitas. Yes, this is an actual old time flyer for that. Estrelitas. This place has been called Dot for many, many years. So this is the location. It was a Mexican restaurant and bar. I've been to Dot several times, and I know exactly where the stage was and where I played. The bass player in John's band was named Rob Shoemaker, and he and John had played for years together in the John Borroz and Company, was the name of the band. So a trio, John on vocals and guitar, Rob Shoemaker on bass and drummer. And at that point, that drummer was me. It was a fun experience. So, like the flyer said, rockabilly, country western, and a touch of the blues for your dancing and listening enjoyment. I'd say we did a lot of country and western was a few songs. I think it was mostly John did rockabilly and blues. We would play different gigs in these bars, but we played private parties. We played house parties. We played barn parties. It was pretty fun. So as we were playing as a trio, joining John Borroz was the very special guest, Norman Sylvester. Now, if you know the blues in Portland, you know Norman Sylvester. And this is an actual flyer of one of the gigs. I played a weekend gig at a place called Cisco and Ponchos down in Northwest, down there by the Roseland in Old Town. When Norman Sylvester Band was formed, Rob Shoemaker became the bass player and has been with Norman since the beginning. This was an article that was just in the newspaper from 2021, not long ago, and it's kind of a retrospective of Norman Sylvester here in the Oregonian, and there's Rob Shoemaker. They're the best. They're wonderful. Let's talk about this track, Chi Chi, which Rob is playing on. So as John and I got together, we were working on these recordings, but we were also started playing again, reforming the band. At one point, John asked Rob if he'd like to just play a gig, and Rob was like, yeah. So we got Rob over to my place, and we rehearsed for this farmer's market gig. And I actually still have the set list here, and it rained like cats and dogs. I'm going to post some pictures. You'll see the pictures. It rained like crazy, so we had to have a tent and get all the PA and everything and not electrocute ourselves. So that's why this is all wet. But this was kind of the stuff we were doing at the time. Drive and Wheel, which was a tune John and I have recorded on the previous CD, which I have not re-released. Harper Valley PTA, which was one he was doing. Wallbanger, we played live, which is on Cool Cocktail Vibes. Let me use the other finger. Wallbanger, right there. I'm not going to talk about Wallbanger or the bluesy stuff. I might save that for another time down the road. Jelly, Jelly, Jelly. It's actually the last song on the CD. That's what we did at the farmer's market. Let's get back to Chi Chi. The origin of this track was we kind of asked Rob, would you like to jam on this tune we're recording? So that's what you heard right there is Rob in the studio. I'm on congas, not drums. Rob is on the bass, and John on the guitar. And that was about a 4-minute track. Maybe it's just one take. Maybe we recorded twice. Put it on the end here. When I recorded this all on the BR1600, the Boss the digital recorder, which I just put a picture of here. It breaks the tracks up to import it into the DAW and the digital audio workstation, which in this case is Apple's Garageband. And so here's just kind of a breakdown of the live tracks. So on one track, we have me playing the congas and some bongos, mostly congas, on one track, and you hear John live on the other track. Let's hear that track. So those are two of the live elements. And then here we should have Rob. There's a shaker. There's Rob. He's coming through my right speaker. Hopefully that's how it works here. So Rob, me, John, and then you hear the shaker on the other side. I overdubbed that later after the recording. This was not a 2022 overdub. This was an overdub that I did at the time, back in 2008. There's a shaker. And then we have two more overdubs for just little hand percussion. A woodblock, and then guero or a wiro. I think people call it wiro. Now let me show you those. I have them right here in my percussion bag. Boy Scouts. Here's the shakers. Actually, I should do this. There's the shakers. Here's the woodblock. I didn't have clave, so I used a woodblock instead. I think that's what I played. And then here is that guero. This one's called the fish. It's like a fish. There's different ones. Man, my bandage coming off because it's gnarly. That's how you play that. Actually, I saw a video of a guy playing kind of a different size and different version of this, and he was just jamming on it. And so I got to go look at that. One thing that's not on this record at all, this album, is cowbell. Got my big cowbell in here. Tambourine. There are tambourine on the... I did add tambourine on the blues songs. This guy here. This apple, this is another shaker. That could be the shaker on there. I'm not sure which one. Oh, here's another shaker. This one's loud. The low one. Triangle. Triangle's in there. Triangle's on Turquoise Drifts. Isn't this great? This little weird show and tell. And of course, I got the bongos back. And I got the conga. The quinto congas over there. The reason I wanted to add those extra hand percussion parts over the live version of the guitar, the bass, and the congas. First, I thought it needed something, but I thought I kind of got this dance vibe. I call it almost like an Arthur Murray. Again, you walk in there. I think I talked about this during Turquoise Drifts, where you'd have those old organs that had like beat boxes in, and you'd just like drum machines, but they were the earlier version of a drum machine, and you put in samba, or salsa. You'd end up with something like this, right? It's just real ballroom dancing kind of a thing, right? And then people would play the organ. Well, I really dug that because I thought because Rob's pattern on the bass is so distinctive, it's so great. I mean, right? Then we add the congas. So in 22, when I was producing this, you know, I started working from the ground up. Okay, I've got some of these cha-cha-cha percussion, plus the live tracks, and Rob doing his thing. I mean, that's danceable. I heard single. I heard TikTok video. So much so that I made a TikTok video. And I don't know why it's not popular. It's so danceable. And there, of course, we've got then John. Oh, there I was saying something. Then we have John on the top of this. Lays back and plays some chords. I mean, those are breaks. Those are dance breaks, you know. I like how this tune sounds. Okay, look, I stopped it right before one of my solo flubs. It was alive. It was totally alive. I wanted to figure out a cool way to start it. In Turquoise Drifts, you have the jungle. At the end of Oh Man, She's Really Got It, you have the ocean. Worked out really nice. I said, well, what happens next? And for some reason, I thought, jet, airplane. It's the jet set, right? It's the 60s. It's cool cocktail vibes. Everyone's getting on that Boeing 707 Pan Am, flying down south or flying back up from Mexico or Brazil or somewhere on their way to JFK. I actually had filmed a jet airplane. I used that for TikiCon. That particular year of TikiCon, it was Air TikiCon, and they had a logo of a jet. That jet airplane sounded really cool for the TikiCon. I'm going to use it on this song here as the opening. So when I produced this, remember that our original live recording starts out with me, John counting off, and then I start off on the congas, and then John and Rob come in, right? But when I went to produce this song, I really wanted it to be, again, kind of this slick little danceable kind of thing. So start with the jet airplane. And that riff is so strong. Let's start with the riff. And notice. Right? And the congas have come in. And now we bring John in. So let's bring everyone in, which I think that bass line that Rob played was so, just laid down the riff, that was the important part. Let's let him come in first with a light percussion, the Borroz, and then let's bring the congas in and bring John to start solidifying the riff and the melody. And we still have the stops with the conga. I remember in an interview that I saw with Brian Eno once, he said, making a record is not like playing live. Now, you can play live, you can use live tracks to be authentic like we're doing here and play it live, but at the same time, you know, live, you're in front of an audience, way different. You do things sometimes you really do things differently live than you would in the recording studio. Now, Cool Cocktail Vibes with John Borroz, he's essentially a live player, so there's a lot of spontaneity and a lot of live to it. But in this case, you're still producing something that you think someone's going to hear this for the first time. They're going to hear it on streaming, as it is now, on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. And so you want to present it to the listener. And that's why kind of arranging this, finding that key element that it's such a groove, such a vibe. And Rob does such a great job just laying that riff down. And it just makes the congas, the other hand percussion, and then John doing his thing with the riff, comping on chords, and then playing the melody. So let's go ahead and listen to that intro again. Again, the jet tells a story. You see the jet fly away. You hear a bass. And the hand percussion lean. Bring in the congas. Now we got a beat, we got a bass. Here comes John. Just sliding in there. And right there, I wanted... John played this... I love this melody that John is playing, this like head that he's playing on the tune, and I wanted to get into that, set him up so that he's featured on that guitar. And of course, we got to do our John Borroz stops where we're going to do a conga solo. Look at that. Yeah, this was really a fun one. And then we get John's guitar solo. So I really kind of blocked this one out again, thinking I could totally see someone dancing to this, or people dancing to it. And if you see my TikTok video, you'll see what I did with the dancing. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. I did add that little vibra slap in there. Later, I felt it needed just a little something. Then we're getting a little frisky on the congas. Back to the head. And look, the whole time, there's Rob Shoemaker just laying it down. The whole track, just do. I'm really happy the way this track turned out. I think it's maybe the shortest track on there. Again, I cut it down a bit. All of this was the essence of the song. Melodic ideas that John has. His guitar sounds so cool in that. The percussion's in the conga. I really had a lot of fun with that. And then there's Rob just playing the bass. Just three guys, no keyboards or other production, just me adding a little hand percussion, as I talked about before. Anyway, that's Chi-Chi with the great Rob Shoemaker. Go see him live with the Norman Sylvester Band. Just go see Norman Sylvester Band when you can. So I think that's it for Chi-Chi, the third track on Cool Cocktail Vibes. I didn't bring the cassettes. Still available on Bandcamp, on CD, and on cassette. If you like what you're hearing in these videos, yeah, you can own a copy. You can go up to Bandcamp, and if physical media is not your thing, you can buy the tracks. That always helps support the production. You can like and subscribe this video too. All of that stuff does help. It helps making more videos. I got a lot more plans ahead. Next up, I'll be talking about the Chi-Chi slight return. Take care.